So what they're trying to do is have the judge grant them permission to only show the judge who the members of ARA are. Because they said, if I find out who the members of ARA are, I'm going to go tell y'all. Yes, that is true. That is what journalism is. And don't y'all think it's weird that they would go so far as to sue me? And now they don't even want to tell me who's suing me? Who are the members of ARA suing me? I don't have the right to face my accuser. I don't have the right to know who's accusing me of all this heinous stuff. They want to stay behind the curtain. They want to stay behind the shield. They want to be protected by Big Daddy Law. Hello, everybody. How are you doing on this fine Wednesday? I'm doing quite well. If you are just joining us from part 4 of BAM Speaks, welcome. Welcome to That Surprise Witness TV. If you are just coming across this video some other way, as you can tell from the title, there has been a major update in the meritless, frivolous lawsuit that Lima, BAM's former guardian, who he speaks about and says that he used her technology and it don't work and it don't do nothing. She has sued me frivolously, meritlessly, because I told the truth. And so there has been an update in that case. A lot of y'all have been asking for updates and asking what's going on in the case. And unfortunately, in the legal system, things move very, very slow. So in this case, the lawsuit was filed back in August. And for many reasons, my lawyers filed a motion to dismiss this lawsuit. The motion to dismiss was filed in October, and nothing has happened since October. So my lawyers filed this motion to dismiss the lawsuit. They had a bunch of legal reasons. I'm not getting into the legal arguments here. I'm really leaving that to them. But nothing happened. Nothing has happened on the case since then. That's it. That's all I knew until pretty recently. Well, recently, about a week ago, there was another filing in the case. It didn't come from Lima and it didn't come from me. It actually came from the judge. And the judge on the case was saying, before he can even decide on the motion to dismiss the lawsuit, he has to decide or determine whether his court even has jurisdiction over this case. So jurisdiction is basically like an authority to hear a certain case involving certain parties. So the court in the case has to have the authority to hear a certain case. For example, a defamation case isn't going to be heard in the traffic court, for example, or a speeding ticket isn't going to be heard in the Supreme Court, right? There's certain jurisdictional questions to get to the bottom of before we can even proceed with the lawsuit, because the judge can't be in a position where he makes all these decisions and he decides things. And then later on, it's like, wait, you didn't even have the authority to do that. Might as well have been, the owner of the peanut stand down the street who decided this. You didn't have authority to do that. Now you got to go and redo the whole case somewhere else or whatever, right? Well, in order for the judge to have jurisdiction in this particular case, it comes down to the residents of the members of the company who's suing me. So I don't want to get into a whole jurisdictional lecture because first of all, it's definitely not my strong suit and I don't want to say the wrong stuff. And second of all, it's very, very complicated. Like there's whole textbooks, there's whole entire law classes taught about, like whole semesters long classes on just about jurisdiction and stuff. So I don't want to get too in the weeds on the jurisdiction, but to boil it down to the essential point,
a court can assert subject matter jurisdiction if the case belongs in the court. There are two types of court systems, federal courts and state courts. There are two major ways for a federal court in the United States to assert subject matter jurisdiction, diversity jurisdiction, and the second way is federal question jurisdiction. For diversity jurisdiction, we're only asking who are the parties. Our first requirement is that no plaintiff can be a citizen of the same state as any defendant. There are different rules for citizenship depending upon whether a party is a natural person or a business. Business entities can be more complicated.
When you get an LLC involved, it becomes more problematic because you need to plead the citizenship of each member of that LLC. But that information is oftentimes not publicly available, and it usually isn't put into the complaint.
To boil it down to its most essential elements, and this is from my understanding, I haven't even really talked to my lawyers about this yet. So this is just what I'm reading in the case. But from what I'm reading, the essential element of what's going on here comes down to the following. In order for the judge in this case to have jurisdiction, he has to know certain information. And one of those pieces of information that the judge needs to know in order to even determine if he even has permission or authority to even hear the case is the members of ARA. Okay. So the judge needs to know who's behind the scenes at ARA, who are the members of the company, because basically what it comes down to is if they live in certain places versus if they live in other places, et cetera, whatever their residence is, that's going to be the determining factor of whether the judge has jurisdiction over them, whether he could even hear the case at all, much less even start looking at the motion to dismiss, much less even get past a motion to dismiss. Okay, that was like a week ago that happened. Well, the judge gave ARA and Lima and the lawyers 1 week basically to file proof of who these people are, where they live and all that, basically to make the argument of why the court has jurisdiction. Well, yesterday was that deadline file by date, June 6th, and they filed some stuff. So I've had the chance to kind of read through their filings. And like I said, I'm not getting into the legal arguments or anything like that today because I'm leaving that to the lawyers. But basically, Lima's lawyers have filed a motion to seal the proof. They have filed a motion to seal from me who are the members of ARA. So they're like, okay, fine, Your Honor. We'll tell you who the members are and what their residences are and stuff like that. But we can't tell BJ because she'll go and tell her audience. That's what they called y'all, my audience. She'll go and tell her audience. And then they're going to harass and send threats. First of all, I tell y'all all the time, don't harass, don't send threats. Second of all, it's very convenient that it's only harassing and threats whenever it's putting it in these lawsuits, but nobody has filed any restraining orders. Nobody has called the cops on anybody. Nobody has found any police records of any of this harassment. They just like to use it in the court filings. But I ain't getting in the weeds on this. So what they're trying to do is have the judge grant them permission to only show the judge who the members of ARA are. Because they said, if I find out who the members of ARA are, I'm going to go tell y'all. Yes, that is true. That is what journalism is. And don't y'all think it's weird that they would go so far as to sue me? And now they don't even want to tell me who's suing me? Who are the members of ARA suing me? I don't have the right to face my accuser. I don't have the right to know who's accusing me of all this heinous stuff. They want to stay behind the curtain. They want to stay behind the shield. They want to be protected by Big Daddy Law, but they also want to use the legal loopholes of the law. I don't think it's a coincidence that they sued in New Jersey instead of California, because California has anti-SLAPP statutes, meaning it is highly, highly, highly frowned upon, as in by statute, to file frivolous defamation claims to stifle journalism and free speech. And that is exactly what this lawsuit is. It is a retaliation against me for finding the truth. The main thing that she's mad about in the lawsuit is that I called her a liar and I said she lied. Well, I don't know, y'all. I'm not the Webster's dictionary or anything like that. But when somebody dies who you have taken responsibility for their health care and their medical treatment and their rehab and all that, they die in your care after you've made an enormous public spectacle of yourself, doing all this nice stuff for this girl and all that. She dies. And then 9 months later, you come out and tell people an incorrect cause of death to millions of people. Millions of people. What is that to y'all? Because to me, it's a lie. I'm going to read directly word for word from what we got. The cause of death was marked as a seizure disorder. When the cause of death was marked as cardiac arrhythmia complicated by obesity, schizophrenia, and hypertension, not a damn word on the whole entire report about a seizure, a single seizure, and said she's reading word for word from what they got from the autopsy. The video's called Autopsy Results.
And so I'm just going to read it word for word of what we got. The cause of death was marked as a seizure disorder. Word for word of what we got, a seizure disorder. Amanda never had seizures prior to being homeless, and they believe that it was post-traumatic epilepsy, but they couldn't mark it as post-traumatic epilepsy because of a lack of evidence. They couldn't tell if the seizures are from past drug use or traumatic brain injury from the assaults, since the assaults were not well documented. And then in brackets, they put police reports or hospital records. And so they just marked it as a seizure disorder.
She starts the video out by saying, "We finally got the autopsy results."
So we finally, after how many months now? It's been
since
9 months or something?
April, May.
So we have the autopsy results for Amanda.
Yes, we do.
Finally. And I'm just going to read word for word from what we got. And then what she reads isn't word for word anything on any of that autopsy report. That's a lie. It's a lie. Another thing she's mad about in these most recent rounds of filings is that I told y'all about Dahlia and Dia. That I told y'all publicly available information. It's very interesting to me that Lima can go on Mark Lata's channel and talk about these sisters' health conditions.
How did you start doing this? What got you into this in the first place?
So our father, growing up, was very abusive to my sisters and I. My sisters didn't remember any of the trauma. And roughly within their mid-20s, they began to hear voices. They didn't come to my mom or myself. They kept it a secret, but they did do the right thing and they sought professional help. And then they started prescribing them cocktails of medications and drugs. Once they started to seek treatment is when it all went downhill from there.
Lima can go on Mark Lata's channel, that has millions of subscribers.
At the beginning, they were prescribed antipsychotics, misdiagnosed for about 3 years. They were told that they were schizophrenic, which is not the case.
Adam 22 No Jumper, millions of subscribers on Adam Grand Mason's channel. And she can talk about all the intricate intimacies and delicate issues having to do with her sister's mental health.
9 years ago, they started hearing voices, and they went to see a psychiatrist. The psychiatrist diagnosed my sisters, both of them, as schizophrenic, gave them a cocktail of medications, and my sisters developed an addiction to the medications. They were misdiagnosed. 4 years later, we found out that they had dissociative identity disorder, which is multiple personality disorder. Right. It can't be treated with medications. It needs to be treated with specialized therapy. And because of the addiction, we're unable to treat the mental illness.
She can go and tell everybody that the police were called on them. They're switching alters, schizophrenia, addiction. She can go and talk about all that.
Tell me how you started Aura and why.
So I started Aura because my sisters, who are identical twins, have had some mental health struggles, and they were misdiagnosed with schizophrenia, given the wrong medication, and developed an addiction to prescription medications. And I got a phone call from my sisters that they were having seizures and they couldn't stop, and I ended up video calling them for about 9 hours. I called the police and they threatened to arrest my sisters, and I was on the phone listening to all of this. And then as soon as that happened, their alters switched. And then the police didn't even understand what dissociative identity disorder was.
She can talk about all that. But when I tell y'all about publicly available court filings, now she's saying, oh, I can't tell you who owns Aura because BJ is going to tell her audience just like she told them about my sisters. Well, guess what? Yes, I will. Yes, I will. Oh, yes. Not only will I be telling the audience about it, but I will be investigating because that is what journalists do. And that is my full-time job. Investigating based on my gut instincts that tell me that something is amiss. Yes, I will. So let me see who owns Aura. Let me see who the members are, because I will undoubtedly, absolutely, without any question at all and no reservation whatsoever, not only tell my audience who they are, I will be conducting a highly public investigation. Yes, I will. That is what journalists do. That is what journalism is. We, the people, deserve to know who it is behind these very powerful interests. Yes, we do. And if you're going to sue somebody for it, they have the right to know who's suing them. So for now, I'm going to say, you know what? Let the truth prevail. Because there's not a damn thing that I have that I'm scared of losing. There's nothing Lima or Aura can take away from me to make me stop searching for the truth. Nothing. I'm prepared to go all the way on this. Now, what else I've learned? What else I already knew? I didn't learn it. I already knew it. Before this lawsuit, it's very expensive. Y'all know Lima hired a law school president?
Hello, my name is Rod Smola. I am thrilled to have accepted the invitation to come to South Royalton as the new president of the Vermont Law School.
And a celebrity defamation lawyer? Y'all knew that? One of her lawyers represented Dominion in the $700 million settlement that they just made. That's what I'm up against. Like Supreme Court level lawyers. And guess what? The truth is the truth. They can play their games. They can do what they want to do with the games. But that's what they're going to have to do to win this case. They're going to have to do all this technicality stuff to bleed me dry of money. And guess what, y'all? I cannot afford to fight this lawsuit. I cannot. My legal bills already, we haven't even gotten to the motion to dismiss phase. Already over $100,000. Who knows how much it's going to cost to fight this? I don't have the money to fight it. I sure don't. But I'm going to wake up every single day. I'm going to work very hard. I'm going to make as much money as I can. I'm going to keep this GoFundMe open. That is linked in the description box below. If you are so inclined, I really appreciate any and every donation, any amount. If you cannot, please do not feel bad. Understand that it is hard out here for people. Do not feel bad if you cannot support the GoFundMe financially. But if you can and you're able and you're willing, it is linked below. Now, I don't know how this is going to get decided. Like I said, I haven't even spoken to my lawyers about it. I don't know what's going to go on with it. I don't know what the next steps are, anything like that. All I know right now is Lima is filing papers in court to keep the members of Aura as a secret from the public, even though she wanted to sue me in court, paid for by our public tax dollars. Sort that out. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation. Love you, Mina K. Bye.